Hello, welcome. This is the first video I've put out on any channel. For those who don't know, my name is Blake. I run an account on Instagram called Pint where I post little pictures of beer and books and do a little write-up whenever I finish a book. I want to transition to video content, I think for a couple of reasons. Not fully, I still want to post my normal content, but I personally enjoy going on YouTube and finding like very small book review channels. Usually when I finish a book, I search it on YouTube. I see all the main big accounts that do their reviews, but some of my favorite accounts are the smaller accounts I just stumble upon. Yeah, if I can be a part of that community and if I can provide any kind of insight into book recommendations or selfishly get book recommendations from people who stumble upon my videos, that's kind of the main goal. Yeah, I don't have a lot of friends in my real life that read books that I can talk to about books. And that's one of the things I love about Page and Pint, that since I started it, people always reach out and recommend books, and I've read stuff I never would have read if it weren't for that account. So really just the social aspect is why I want to do it. So yeah, that's the intro. Enough about that. I think the format I want to do for these, do a little recap of a book or two that I finished, and then talk about something I've drank recently or a beer I'm drinking, and then go through what I'm currently reading. So let's do it. Should have thought this through, actually. I'm going to talk about two. Duma by Stephen King. I started this in December, finished it early January. This is one that I never feel like is recommended. I love the cover. That's like the only reason I picked it up. I knew nothing about the book other than the cover. It's one I haven't heard talked about, and it's a big boy. It's like the same length as 11/22/63, I think. It is a journey. I think a lot of Stephen King books are like that. I felt similarly to this one as I did 11/22/63, where there was a chunk in the middle where I was like, all right, let's keep it moving. The thing I loved about the book was the setting. I think that's what everyone's gonna say. It's set off of the Gulf Coast of Florida, sticky, humid beach town. Duma itself is like desolate. There's only a handful of houses. I think the setting, the characters, the protagonist is someone who lost an arm in a construction accident and is going through recovery for that, and just his marriage is falling apart because he becomes pretty toxic and kind of like angry at the world, understandably so. So he goes through this kind of separation and he's super wealthy, decides to move to Duma, and he gets a big pink house there, and then weird shit starts happening. That's all. I think it's best to go in blind. I say that about too many books, but this one in particular. Really good in the beginning, fine in the middle, and then just kind of super different the last quarter. It's a terrible way of explaining it. I'm a first timer on video here, so bear with me. But yeah, I would recommend it. I think not as good as 11/22/63. I would give it, like, if you're doing a tier chart, it would be A tier for me. I really loved it. If it weren't for the protagonist, and I just finished the book and I can't remember the guy he talks to on the beach, the other main guy, but that guy, their conversations were super fun. Another book I just finished, Tender as the Flesh. Just very heavy and disturbing, but so well written, and it's short. Like, it's so quick. I read this in 2 days, which nothing to brag about. It's not long, but for me, it usually takes me longer to read books. Yeah, I think if you can handle the content, it's just a phenomenal book. I'd be careful, because I feel like you read the back and you're like, oh, okay, cannibalism, like, yeah, they eat people, it's probably gross. It's more fucked up than that. There's like a scene in this book about how they breed the humans that, like, I have to live with in my head now. So don't tread lightly, or do tread lightly. Heed the warnings, but if you can take it, super impactful book, and the ending is just insane. For beers, it's dry January, so I've got this week to get through, and then back on the wagon. Is it on the wagon when you are drinking? Whatever drinking is, that's what I'm going to be doing. But right now I'm drinking an Athletic Brut IPA, Round of Cheers. It's like a seasonal release. They did this last year too. It's good. It's really dry, hoppy, woody. Yeah, a lot of their IPAs are like similar, but in a good way. What I'm currently reading, I've got a few here. I'll run through. First, Glass Castle. I'm about 100 pages into this, so maybe like 30%. It's good. I'm really liking it. Again, sort of heavy. I can tell that it's going to get heavier, I feel like. It's just going to get worse. It's told from the perspective of a young girl. The author, it's a memoir. And she grows up, she's growing up in this like really eccentric, I don't know what the word is, not good, but her parents are very sort of wild individuals in a really bad way. The thing I like about this book is that her perspective is so strong that you're so in her head that when the dad does something fucked up, you like feel that, but then when he comes around and he's like the good guy again, like that, you feel like as gaslit as the protagonist in this book, where you're like, okay, he's like kind of cool. You're like actively getting abused as you're reading it, which if you're into, yeah, again, I'm only 30% through, but so far so good. Another one I'm reading, let's see if I can get this title page. I bought the Kindle Color Soft, and it's cool, but it's why do I need color? For this reason, I guess. I'm reading The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett. This is the first book in the Discworld series, which is like this huge fantasy series with like, I think it's over 40 or 50 books that are all like non-linear and you can follow different paths. It's something I've been meaning to get into. I'm about 100 pages into this. I don't usually read fantasy. What I'm liking about it so far is that usually there's a bunch of world building that needs to take place, and I think it's probably actively taking place in this first book, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like you're thrown into the middle of like a D&D campaign. It's funny. The characters are all super unique and three-dimensional, and yeah, you're like along for this adventure like right off the get. It's not like boring descriptions of, I don't know, that's how I imagine the first in fantasy books, is just like describing some countryside with dragons and shit. It's fun. It's a fun book so far. Yeah, I think that's it. Again, not comfortable in front of the camera yet. Maybe I'll get there. This was my first video. I appreciate everyone for watching. And by the way, if there's like a piece of a red flag up there, that's a Florida Panthers flag. I just wanted to clear that up in case people had a different idea. So yeah, that's it. Cheers.